Yes, it's Destination Newry, the morning programme. I'm Rowan Hand. I have the privilege of being your host. Every morning, every weekday morning from 7:30 to 10:30, Michael McKeown of Crash Services joins me. And Michael's the man, indeed you are, Michael, behind in large measure the Newry's Greatest, which is going on at the Town Hall on the 28th of February, and the money raised on that night will importantly support refugees from Syria.
Correct. Right, well this morning I'm here doing a last roundup to get some people to come along to an event tomorrow morning at the Canal Court.
Yes.
At 11 o'clock, which involves my character that I'm putting forward as the greatest. Some of my, I hate to use the word competitors in the Newry's Greatest, think that this was all a great ruse, that I had planned to have this plaque put up a week or two before the competition so as to draw more attention, but that is not true. Far be it from me to have planned or schemed such a thing.
So where is the plaque going up?
Well, the plaque is going up on the outside front of the Canal Court, between the two nice arched windows to the right of the front door, so that visitors going into...
Do you know something? That's the very place for it.
Well, the people from the Ulster History Circle, when I canvassed them about doing this, they came to town and I gave them various locations that Francis Carville, merchant of Newry, entrepreneur, where he had occupied.
Yeah.
And they picked that one because they realised that's the one that's most likely to fall into the eyes of the tourists.
Yeah.
It's the greatest footfall in the town.
Yeah.
And it was also one of his most important places. So when I told...
It strikes me that it's a cracking idea, because James and the Newry Maritime Association, they have got their plaque up to Raymond Kelly Park. Raymond Kelly, the seaman, a great man, a great plaque. They've done it beautifully and all the rest of it. And they've done it for the soldier of Newry, Max Blaney. But you know, with the two places, the plaque are at geographically significant places,
yes,
but they're out of the way. And I think that's a pity. I just have a vision of all our blue plaques across the front of the canal.
All of them.
Do you know what I'm saying to you? I had earlier thought it'd be lovely to have them at almost eye level around the red brick of the town hall.
Oh yeah.
But that's a very clever wheeze to put it on at the the Canal Court. So what did this fellow Carville do that makes him worthy of a blue plaque?
Oh well, I'm going to give you a little bit of philosophy which I think applies to him, and it is this idea of if you want something done, you visualize it, you then verbalize it, and you actualize it. So I want you to visualize Croke Park on the 28th of August 2014. Two big sets of giant men from America will be fighting out a big football match. And at half time, when they separate them, I will walk out into the middle of the pitch, and there I will be given by the captain of the State College of Pennsylvania the papers of the Carville family of Newry, which are lying in their repository.
You're joking me.
Oh,
this is going to happen.
I am visualizing.
Oh, you're visualizing.
I am now verbalizing.
You're verbalizing. Now, what about the actualizing?
You and others are going to help me actualize it between now and then.
Wow.
Now, I tell you this story, Rowan, because the placing of the blue plaque outside the Canal Court is part of a scheme. The scheme to get the papers back.
The Carville papers.
The papers of this man and his family are lying in a repository, unlooked at, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I have tried all sorts of means of getting people's interest to help me to make representations to the college. And part of that is to raise the awareness about Francis Carville in our own area.
Yes.
And part of that is I went to the Ulster History Circle and said, I think you should commemorate this man. So it's all part of a big scheme that culminates in Croke Park on the 28th of August.
So what's the event at Croke Park on that day?
The State College University are playing Notre Dame or somebody.
Notre Dame. And that's, but I mean, wouldn't they be so overwhelmed with joy if they found that they were going to present the papers to the city and barony of Newry of Newry's greatest man?
Correct.
It's the pieces are all coming together.
Right, it's a big scheme, Rowan. It's not just all happening by chance, this. So you ask me about him. Well, I think the most important thing about the promotion of Francis Carville is that in the modern time, and it has always been the case, but even more so now, we need to instill the spirit of entrepreneurship into the young people. Because what you find is that there are no multinationals cited here in Newry. The big businesses are all homegrown.
Yes.
Norbrook, Glen,
Yes.
First Derivatives,
Yes.
right? You go on with the big building firms, etc. They're all homegrown. And what you find is that the statistic shows that this area of Newry and Mourne has per capita the largest number of self-employed people in all the regions. Now, part of that is the politics of the partition, etc., that we're peripheral from Belfast, we're peripheral from Dublin. So what we need is to find role models. And in my study of Newry's history, I think I have found the ideal role model in Francis Carville. Because he came here from somewhere around Kilkeel at the age of 19 or 20.
Came to Newry.
Came to Newry, and so that was he was born in 1800. And the first sign of him is he had an ironmongery shop in Water Street. But within a few years, in 1830, he announces in the paper that he has bought the extensive works of Newry Metal Works, right, which was also on Water Street at that time. Now, this wasn't just a wee place making iron gates and the like. This place was putting out 3,000 dozen of spades per annum.
3,000
Spades, not counting the shovels that would have been used in the dockyards and everything else. So they made spades and shovels. And within 20 years, he had become the market leader in spades.
Wow.
Now, what I have discovered by the way these things bring into other paths, I had to read up the history of agriculture in Ireland.
See, the spades were the JCBs of the time.
Francis Carville actually innovated different types of spade. You'd think so. You know, there's
only one spade.
There's a spade. There's a spade's a spade.
A spade's a spade, but you're telling me it's not.
No. Well, I know better than most of you because I'm from Lurgan, and
you're about the Lurgan spade.
I grew up with the saying, "You have a face as long as a Lurgan spade."
Yeah.
But what I discovered from studying Francis Carville is that there was a spade for virtually every town.
Yes.
And whenever he advertised, he said that he had developed spades that suited the soil in different places. Now, these spades were selling as far away as Sligo. So, when he came, he grew to that height, and the business became so big, he moved it over to what we now know as the Canal Court.
Yes.
But most people in Newry, in their nostalgic view, they say, "Oh, you mean O'Hare's Mill?"
It was before that.
So O'Hare's Mill before that had been a factory making spades.
Wow. It's amazing.
And I'm going to, the way I've come across him is like, you know, the proverbial jigsaw puzzle. You open the box and you find all these pieces from different places. So when I jump about, it's because I'm actually been finding pieces of a jigsaw.
Yeah.
And the piece of the jigsaw that made it most worthwhile to study this man is an article from the Newry Examiner in 1844 when he was still alive.
Yes.
Which is remarkable because what they said about him is what one would say of the dead. It was like an epitaph, but he was alive.
Alive for it.
And what it said was that the town of Newry owed in the main its great prosperity at the time to the work of Francis Carville.
Yeah.
Who was employing who was the largest employer in the town. But in between the years since he bought the iron works in 1830 to 1840, during that time he had branched out into being a shipper, owner of ships.
By gum.
And what he was doing was he had a younger brother who he dispatched off to Nova Scotia to buy timber and so on. And he was importing timber into Newry and bringing passengers back out from Newry and Warren Point.
My goodness.
Now, once he's got into that transport, I like to visualise him as a sort of a previous day, what do you call him in Virgin there? What do you call
Oh,
him?
yes, Branston.
Branston.
Richard, Virgin,
because
yes.
he went into transport.
Yeah.
Then, through the shipping, he became a director of the navigation canal.
Yeah.
And was in the forefront, as I said in another publication at that time. Mr. Carville always in the van of improvements in the area of Newry.
Wow.
And that goes on to...
He is Newry at his heart. He's not only entrepreneurial success, he's focusing that in Newry because he loves Newry.
Absolutely. And I can't say anything else, Rowan, other than that I feel so close to this man, because that's the way I feel.
Yeah,
I feel like I love Newry. And I'd like it to be the centre of this, that. And like him, I came here later in life. I wasn't born here. Mm-hmm. So I have that in common with him as well. And I just don't have the degree of energy and acumen that he obviously had, because not only did he go into running ships, but he actually started to build ships here on the Middle Bank. Wow. Now, that has never been known since. No. And we don't know, even the monks when they're here, we don't know that they were building ships.
No, they came by horse across from France, but they didn't build ships.
We don't know that.
And would that shipbuilding enterprise would have been down beyond the where the quays are today?
It's described as the Middle Bank.
Middle Bank.
Well, we actually today have a misconception of Middle Bank, I think, because we count Soho car park, and the car park beside the butter crane is the Middle Bank. Yeah. But actually, that part on the other side of the Albert Basin is also the Middle Bank.
Yes, it is.
You know, the bit that's a bit like a bit of an island isolated there.
You see, I would regard that more swiftly. I would regard that as the Middle Bank than anything in town.
Yeah.
So the Middle Bank starts just south of the quays and goes out from there.
Well, I haven't yet been able to trace land ownership there, but I have traced them owning about a third of what is now the Quay Shopping Centre. Yes. So he was down there as well. And the whole site, which we now called TK Maxx, and the little bits beside it, shortly after acquiring the site where the Canal Court is, he then opened his timber yards down there where TK Maxx is.
This is the first fishers almost. The fishers came afterwards with timber.
Actually, what happened was the Carville family ran out, you might say, in that his surviving son sold out to fishers in 1909.
Really?
So when we think he's disappeared, you go out to Carnbean and you'll see Haldane Fisher.
Still there.
Go down to the Canal Bank and you'll see Phoenix Merchants. Yeah. Both of which are carried on from him. And in fact, people have forgotten this, but I've spoken recently to John Fisher, and I was telling him that I realised that fishers carried on the making of spades into the 20th century. And he told me that they were making spades up until 1925-26, when a fire occurred at the then spade works down at the butter crane, where the butter crane shopping centre is, and that they decided not to reinvest in it because by this stage mass production was coming from big iron business and different methodologies were coming in, whereas the Newry spades were being made by a big steam hammer that
flattened it in one thump. Yeah.
So that new technology had come in and they didn't bother competing with it after that. But it's there are the remnants of Carville are still here.
It's an amazing story, you know.
Yes, but I keep a big file on it at home, a computer file, and the title I give the head file is the Carville Chronicles. Yes. Because after a while of researching it, I realised that I had something like the Forsyth saga on my hands. Wow. Yeah. Because the family stories are fascinating also. Yes. What happened within the family.
Have you gone to America, to the university? Have you seen the papers?
I did. If anybody's really keen to see what they look like, they can go onto YouTube and put in Carville without the E.
Carville.
And Michael McKeown. Yeah. And that'll bring you up onto my YouTube page, and you'll see Carville Papers, and you'll see me visiting the university. And I spent from a Monday morning at 9 o'clock until Friday night at 6 o'clock, solidly, with my camera on a tripod, turning pages. Wow. Turning pages, James Bond style.
Were you allowed to do this?
Well, they didn't think much of them when I started.
Yeah.
But by the end of the week,
What's
when
this
they
guy
realised,
at?
when they realised, no,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't. When they realised what was in there, all of a sudden they were interested in
Aye,
it, and
aye.
the arms went round them.
Oh.
And I have a funny bit. I didn't put it in that video. I have it on a separate bit of video. The boss of the archives came in to see me on the Friday afternoon. Hadn't bothered with me all week, and he came in and he asked me what he was doing, and he nearly died with shock.
Yeah.
Because I had catalogued and arranged some whole sections of the papers, which they'd never bothered doing.
Yeah.
They bought them in a second-hand shop in England in
For
1970.
goodness sake.
Brought them home and never opened them again till I went looking for them.
My God. Hold that thought. We're going to play a bit of music and we'll come back again momentarily. Sean, let's have some music, please.
All alone, I didn't like the feeling. All alone, I sat and cried. All alone, I had to find some meaning in the center of the pain I felt inside. All alone, I cave into this world. All alone, I will someday die. Solid stone is just sand and water, baby. Sand and water, and a million years gone by. I will see you in the light of 1,000 suns. I will hear you in the sound of the waves. I will know you when I come, as we all will come through the doors beyond the grave. All alone, I heal this heart of sorrow. All alone, I raise this child. Flesh and bone, he's just bursting towards tomorrow, and his laughter fills my world and wears your smile. I will see you in the light of 1,000 suns. I will hear you in the sound of the waves. I will know you when I come, as we all will come through the doors beyond the grave. All alone, I came into this world. All alone, I will someday die. Solid stone is just sand and water, sand and water and a million years gone by.
Well, Destination Newry, you're again welcome, welcome, welcome wherever you're